CIET NCERT presents AudioBook Kaushal Bodh, Textbook of Vocational Education for Grade 7.
Page 107, Part 3, Work in Human Services. There's a picture given at the bottom of this page with 4 students taking and recording an interview. One student is standing behind the camera and capturing the interview, and the other 3 students are asking and replying to each other's questions. Page 108. Human services are about serving people and interacting with them in different ways. Projects on work in human services will help you learn how to work with people. You can take up projects related to taking care of your health and that of your family and others. You can make interesting videos and audio clips on various topics such as making a budget for your family, applying mehndi on people's hands, or developing a comic book. It is up to you to imagine all that you can do with your peers. 2 examples of projects are given in this section, which are Storytime with puppets and Family Health Handbook. You must take up only one project. You can either choose one of these projects or you can design a project of your own choice with the help of your teacher. Page 109. Project 5. Storytime with puppets. There's a QR code given here on this page on right-hand side top. You can scan this QR code to find relevant information regarding this project. This project will help you learn about telling stories with puppets. You will learn to write a script, make puppets and put up a puppet show with backdrops, props, sound and light. As part of the project, you will be able to identify a story, write a script, make puppets, design and present a puppet show. Figure 5.1. Students watching a puppet show. There's a picture given in this figure. 2 students are presenting a puppet show with 2 different puppets. One of a doll and another one is of a lion. Page 110. Everyone, young and old, likes to listen to stories. Storytelling has been prevalent from ancient times and different forms of storytelling have evolved over time. The paintings in the Ajanta caves in Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar in Maharashtra, made between the 2nd century BCE and 5th century CE, are one form of storytelling. They depict stories from the Jatak tales through paintings. India also has a tradition of oral storytelling, which has continued until today through ball songs in Bangla, Kawad in Rajasthan, Yakshagan in Kerala and Karnataka, and Ram Leela across the country. Kawad is narrated using a wooden shrine that opens as the story unfolds. Yakshagana, and Ram Leela use music, masks, and costumes, along with dialogues. Traditionally, these performances were done without a written script. Figure 5.2. Shadow puppet show uses light and the shadow of puppets to tell stories from our ancient epics. In the middle of the page, a picture of shadow puppets is given. The forms in which stories are told keep changing. For example, in modern times, writing is a popular form of storytelling. Along with writing, photography, cinema, animation, and many other forms are used for storytelling. Sadly, some of the traditional forms are not as popular as they were till a few decades back. Some people prefer more modern forms of storytelling. But one form that has persisted is using puppets to tell stories. Figures 5.1 and 5.2. Puppets are human or animal figures that can be moved by the puppeteer. Therefore, a clockwork doll will not be considered a puppet, but a simple sock with eyes, nose, and mouth stitched on it will be considered a puppet if it moves with the help of the puppeteer. Page 111. Puppetry is the art of moving puppets either by hand, rods, or strings to narrate a story. You may have already learned about puppets in art education. You might have also learned about the different kinds of puppets used in our country. The advantage of puppetry is that you can put up a show with even one or two humans and a few puppets. This show can be easily taken from place to place and used to narrate a variety of stories. Puppet shows have been used to share sensitive social messages that people may hesitate to discuss otherwise, or even to involve people who may otherwise stay aloof. Since the puppet and not the human is speaking, the audience will listen and laugh about things that would otherwise make them angry or upset. For example, puppets have been used to discuss addiction, superstition, and other ills in society. They have been used to motivate people to act against injustice.
Did you know? Between 2012 and 2014, archaeologists excavated a site belonging to the Sindhu Saraswati civilization at Karanpura in Rajasthan, situated along the river Chautang. Among the many discoveries was what appeared to be a puppet-headed bull, figure 5.3. Although its head is missing, archaeologists have observed that the shape of the artifact is such that a detachable head could be placed on it. There are also two shallow grooves through which a string could be passed to make the head move. At the right-hand side on the bottom of the page, figure 5.3 is given and it is labeled as puppet-headed bull.
Page 112. In this project, you will make different kinds of puppets and perform a puppet show. What will I be able to do? At the end of the project, you will be able to 1. Write a script based on a story. 2. Make puppets using different types of materials. 3. Use music, sound, light, and voice modulation as per the story. 4. Narrate a story through a puppet show. What will I need? You will need the following materials. 1. To make puppets: slippers, spoons, twigs, leaves, husk, bamboo, old cloth, ribbons, forks, tennis ball or any other ball, colors, brushes, palettes, cutter, scissors, thread, needle, glue, tape, paper tape with a writable surface, or any other available material. 2. To move puppets, string, broomsticks, chopsticks, or any other available material. 3. To make props, aluminium, cardboard, chart, or any other available material. 4. For the performance, cardboard, wood, preferably waste, hammer, nails, chart, bedsheet, paint, tablecloth, torch, diya, table lamps, musical instruments, sound system, or any other available material. How do I keep myself and others safe? Precautions you need to follow while designing and putting up the puppet show are: page number 113. 1. Please use the tools as per instructions and follow necessary safety precautions. 2. It is possible that your workspace will have loads of raw materials and semi-finished work. Sometimes semi-finished work is delicate. You must store it safely to avoid accidental or unintended damage. 3. Work in properly ventilated and well-lit room. 4. While writing the script and during the performance, be sensitive to others' sentiments and spread positive messages. In case you are drawing inspiration from real life for your story, ensure you get permission from the people concerned. Internet safety. Ask your teacher for help while using the internet. Be careful and do not upload or download anything. Do not share personal information online. What do I need to know before I start? Before you start thinking of the story you will narrate and the puppets you will make, it is important to think about what will interest people in your puppet show. Activity 1. What makes stories work? Think of the stories you have heard from various people or seen on a stage or in a film. Remember the story you most enjoyed hearing, the one you wanted to hear again and again. Think of what you liked about that story. There are some questions and blank space provided for your response. 1. Who told the story? Blank space. 2. How did they tell the story? Did they recite it or keep changing their voice? Did they use any props, modulate their voice, use actions, and change expressions as they told the story? Blank space. Page 114. 3. What did you like about the way they told the story? Blank space. The most important thing for a story is holding the listener's attention. Discuss your responses with your peers and see if you identified some common elements that made storytelling interesting. On the basis of this discussion, what would you do to make a story exciting for listeners? Blank space for your response. Activity 2. Watching a puppet show. Check if there is any puppet show taking place near you. If not, you can invite a puppeteer to school to put up a show. Discuss the types of puppets with the puppeteers. Observe the puppet's mechanism, how the puppeteer moves it, who he or she looks at, their dress, style of holding the puppet, and most importantly, voice modulation. If it is a live performance or a play with human actors or a puppet show, observe the stage arrangement, background, sound, and light. After watching the puppet show, please respond to the following questions. There are some questions given and blank space is provided for your responses. 1. What was the name of the puppet show? Where did you watch it? Blank space. Page 115. 2. What kind of puppets were used in the show? Example, king, lion, bird. What do you think the puppets were made of? Blank space. 3. What was the puppeteer doing? How was he or she moving the puppet? Did the puppeteer interact with the audience or with the puppet? If yes, how? Blank space. 4. What was the most interesting scene in the puppet show? Why did you find it interesting? Blank space. 5. Were elements like sound, light, backdrop, or anything else used that made the show interesting? Blank space. In case you are not able to see a live puppet show, you can search for a video of a puppet show online using the keywords puppet show plus language. Your choice. What do I have to do? The first step towards putting up a puppet show is to identify a story and write a script. Once that is done, you have to make puppets according to the characters in the story and then design the puppet show. Finally, you have to set up the stage and put up a show. Page 116. Activity 3. Selecting or writing a story. Before you start making puppets, you should be clear about the story you want to present. You can go to the school library and read books to get ideas. Or you can use something you are learning about in other subjects. Example, a story or poem from language or a historical event in science or social science. You can also select a story your grandparents tell you. Alternatively, you can think about designing a puppet show around social issues. Example, Swachh Bharat, polio vaccination, or on the rights and responsibilities of citizens. Remember, you have to make puppets, write a script, and put on a show. Therefore, your story must be short and simple, but with some drama and or action in it. There's a question given with blank space for your response. Which story did you select and why? Blank space. Next, you need to identify the key elements of the story. Table 5.1 will help you in doing so. Table 5.1. Key elements of the selected story. This table is divided into two parts. First column is questions. Second column is for answers based on the story. Second column is left blank for your responses. Different kinds of questions are given in first column for your response. First question, what is the story about? Second question, what is its title? Third question, who are the characters in the story? Describe them briefly. Fourth question, where is the story set? Fifth question, does the setting of the story change as it progresses? Sixth question, What is the plot of the story? 7th question. Write the sequence of the main events. 8th question. What is the central message of the story? Activity 4. Writing a script for the puppet show. When you see a live performance or watch a film, there are dialogues, changes in scenes, music, action, and many other things. It is much more than just narrating a story. Translating a story into a show is done using a script. A script has the step-by-step flow of scenes, dialogues, and emotions of the characters. It also contains details like the position and movement of the puppets during each scene. Elements like short songs or poems, light and sound effects, and so on must be mentioned in the script. The style of speaking has to be made clear. Example: natural, casual, formal, authoritative, submissive, and so on, depending on the character and the scene. Try and select a story that has at least 2 to 3 characters. These characters can be animals, humans, aliens, as per the story. To help you understand how to write the script, an example of a story called Gopal and the Hilsa Fish is given in table 5.2. This story is about a king who does not like people talking about the Hilsa fish in the court. He challenges Gopal, his courtier, to buy a huge Hilsa fish and bring it to the palace without anyone talking about it. Gopal accepts the challenge. He shaves half his beard and smears ash on himself. People are so surprised by his appearance that they do not talk about the big Hilsa fish in his hand. Page 118. Table 5.2. Script for Gopal and the Hilsa fish. This table has 5 columns and 6 rows. The heading for the first column, serial number. The heading for the second column, character. The heading for the third column, dialogue and style. The heading for the fourth column, props required. The heading for the fifth column, special effects. Example, light and sound. It describes scene 1. Darbar scene with king on a throne and Gopal standing in front of him. Backdrop showing a beautiful hall with paintings on the wall. First character is king. His dialogue and style. Complaining. I am tired of people talking about the Hilsa fish. Props required. Throne for king, made of cardboard and painted with gold paint. Second character, Gopal. Dialogue and style. Patiently. They will get tired and stop. Third character, dialogue and style. Impatiently. When? Gopal. Dialogue and style. In a soothing voice, as soon as anything else comes along. King. Dialogue and style. Angrily. Gopal, do not argue with me. I challenge you to bring a big Hilsa fish to the darbar without anyone talking about it. Special effects. Example, light and sound. Sound of hand striking a wooden surface. Gopal. dialogue and style. Bowing low. I accept the challenge, Your Majesty. Special effects. Example, light and sound. Sound of a trumpet can be a toy trumpet or sound made by a person. Scene 2. Marketplace. Backdrop showing a busy marketplace with lots of people looking towards the stage. Gopal, with half his beard shaved and ash smeared on his body, holding a large hilsa fish. Another person from the town standing and looking at him in surprise. Page 119. Please note that props are objects other than puppets. Figure 5.4. Used on stage. They are used to clearly show the setting. Example, the king's throne can easily be moved around. Example, hilsa fish, sword, ball, car, newspaper. While some of these are placed on the stage, others can be moved around if attached to a string or stick. Figure 5.4. Puppet for Gopal from Gopal and the Hilsa Fish. This figure has a picture of a sample puppet for Gopal's character. Now, use table 5.3 to write a detailed script for your story. Table 5.3. Template to write your own script. This table has 5 columns and 5 rows. These rows are kept blank for you to write your own script. There are 5 columns in this table with the heading: first, serial number; second, character; third, dialogue and style; fourth, props required; and fifth, special effects. Example, light and sound. It is also divided in 2 sections of Scene 1, which has 3 characters, and Scene 2, which has 2 characters. Activity 5. Character sketch. Before you make your puppets, you have to imagine how they would be as people. Would they be tall or short? Would they be cheerful or grumpy? Would they be outgoing or shy? These are known as characteristics. Deciding the characteristics of your puppet is known as making a character sketch. This is necessary for deciding the face and body of the puppet, its expressions, its voice, and mannerisms. For example, jumping up and down when excited, slumping when sad. Figure 5.5. Figure 5.5. A scene from a story about a scared lion and his mouse friend. In this figure, a picture of a lion puppet and a mouse puppet is given. The lion is made of paper and the mouse is a sock puppet. Page number 120. You need not make the puppet exactly like an animal or human figure. Often, puppets have elongated bodies, arms, and hands. However, to get a complete idea of the puppet, you need to imagine both its body and its personality. Using graph paper makes drawing easier. Suppose your story has a rabbit. You can draw a rabbit on paper and paste it on cardboard. You can then attach a stick to the cardboard to move your rabbit puppet. To draw the rabbit, take a picture of a rabbit, tracing paper and graph paper. Draw the rabbit on the tracing paper and paste it on the graph paper. Next, draw lines proportionate to the graph on the chart paper you want to draw the rabbit on. This will help you make a larger rabbit. You can now copy each part of the rabbit onto the chart paper. Erase the lines once you are done and color your rabbit. Figure 5.6. Once the stick is pasted to the body of the rabbit, your puppet is ready. Figure 5.6. Making a rabbit with graph paper. In this figure, 4 steps of making a rabbit puppet with a graph paper are given. Each step has a picture of the rabbit painting and how to replicate it using a trace paper and a graph paper. Page 121. These questions will help you plan how to make the puppets. 1. Which puppets will you make? Draw them in the space given. There's a blank space given for you to draw the puppets you want to make. 2. What are their main characteristics? Blank space for your response. Activity 6. Making puppets. You can make puppets with materials available around you. Clay, softwood, grass, waste paper, used bottles, thermocol, cardboard, or any other suitable material. For example, you can stick cutouts of fish drawn on chart paper around a broomstick and move them to narrate a simple story set in the sea. You can stick a piece of chart paper around a broomstick and then paste nose, eyes, ears made of chart paper or of materials like wool. Some examples of materials and objects that you can use to create puppets are given in figures 5.7 to 5.13. Do try out other materials and see what you can do. Page 122. 1. Sock puppets. You can make sock puppets simply by taking old socks and sewing eyes, nose, and mouth on them. You can even sew some old wool to the sock to create hair. You can move sock puppets by wearing them over your hand. Figure 5.7. Sock puppets with hair stitched on with wool. There's a picture given of a sock puppet with brown hair made up of wool and stitched to it. 2. Spoon and fork puppets. You can make puppets using steel or wooden spoons and forks, even ice cream spoons and disposable forks. You can simply paint a face on the spoon and wrap some husk on the fork and then paint a face on it. Figure 5.8. Making spoon and fork puppets. There are 3 pictures given in this figure. Each picture tells us different steps on how to make spoon and fork puppets. You can also decorate these puppets with clothes made of paper and color them using sketch pens or pencils. You can move these puppets using the handles of the spoon and fork. 3. Slipper or shoe puppets. You can paint the sole of a shoe or tie or paste wool for hair and mustache. You can stick buttons for eyes or simply paint them. Figure 5.9. You can move these puppets by holding the sides of the slipper or wearing the shoe on your hand. Page 123. Figure 5.9. A. Shoe puppet with face painted on the sole. B. Slipper puppet with eyes made of cork and hair and moustache made of wool attached with glue and string. In this figure, two pictures are given. The first picture is of a shoe puppet which has been painted as a face. The second picture is of a slipper puppet which has eyes made of cork and hair and moustache made of wool. 4. Ball puppets. You can create faces with balls. Just insert a broomstick into the bottom of a ball so that you are able to move it. You can paint a face on the ball puppet or stick pieces of paper cut to resemble noses and ears to the sides of the ball. Figure 5.10. Figure 5.10. Making ball puppets with nose and eyes made of paper stuck on it and then painted. A broomstick is inserted in the ball for movement. There are 4 pictures of ball on a broomstick given in this figure. Each picture tells us the different steps of making a ball puppet on a broomstick. 5. Vegetable puppets. You can also create puppets using vegetables like potatoes and toothpicks. You can use other vegetables like radish and carrot to create a nose, mouth and eyes. Figure 5.11. Figure 5.11. Puppet made from potatoes and sticks. There's a picture given in this figure of a potato puppet made out of potatoes and stick. Page 124. 6. Leaf puppets. You can create puppets with leaves too. These can either be dried leaves that do not break easily or green leaves. If you are using green leaves, you can use the attached twigs to create hands and arms. Figure 5.12. You can move these puppets holding them where you want. Figure 5.12. A. Leaf puppet made of leaves and stems. B. Puppet made of dried leaves. There are 2 pictures in this figure. First is of a puppet made of green leaves and twigs attached to it as arms and legs. Picture B is of a puppet made of a dried leaf. 7. Cardboard puppets. You can create puppets with discarded cardboard too. Figure 5.13. Besides the body, you can cut and stick small pieces of cardboard to resemble eyes, nose, mouth, and even a moustache. Figure 5.13. Puppet made of discarded cardboard. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and hair cut out of cardboard and pasted on the body. Multiple broomsticks taped together and inserted into the cardboard section of the puppet to make it move. There are 2 pictures given in this figure. The first picture is of a discarded cardboard. The second picture is of a puppet made out of that discarded cardboard, which has moustaches, eyes, ears, mouth stick to it. Page 125. 8. Making puppet heads. You can try and make a puppet with a head and dress. Figure 5.14. How you can make the head. Gather the materials as shown in the figure and get started. Figure 5.14. Making a ball puppet. In this figure, the materials that are needed to make a puppet are given, and along with that, 9 steps on how to make it are given. Materials: twigs, husks, newspapers, thread, cloth, and water glue solution. Different pictures of these materials are also given here. Step 1. Take 2 small twigs and tie them in a plus sign. A picture of hands doing the same step is given here. Step 2. Take straw or husk, whichever is available, and make a ball. Tie it with a thread around the plus sign to make a round or an oval shape. Alternatively, if you cannot find husk or straw, you can use newspaper. A picture with a stick and a husk ball is given here. Step 3. Wrap newspaper around the ball. A picture of a round ball and newspaper around it with a stick is given here. Step 4. Now, take a bowl with some water and add glue to it. 3:1. 3-part water, 1 part glue. Mix it well and keep it aside. Some pictures are given doing the same step in different parts. Step 5. Tear scraps of paper into small pieces. A picture is given of 2 hands scraping the newspaper into small pieces. Step 6. Take a torn piece of paper, dip it in the water glue solution, and paste it on the round ball from step 3. Continue this process till the entire surface is covered in water glue solution dipped paper. Some pictures in this step are given of small papers sticking up to the ball of the newspaper. Step 7. Let the ball dry. A picture of a ball with a stick is given in this step. Step 8. Add nose and eyes to the head using newspaper or other material. A picture of 2 hands holding the stick and the ball is given here, where the hands are pasting eyes and nose to that ball. Step 9. Paint the head. A picture is given here where the artist is painting the eyes, nose, and all other features of the head. Lastly, a picture is given here of 2 students holding their puppets. Page 126. Learning from online resources. You can also make the head with papier-mâché. It is a French word meaning chewed paper. Search online to learn making papier-mâché using the keywords how to make papier-mâché. Figure 5.15. Making a papier-mâché head. Painting the face. There are various ways in which you can finalize your puppet head. You must imagine a combination of eyes, nose, lips, and ears that express the emotion. Figure 5.16. For example, smiling face, frowning face, laughing face, and so on. Once you decide the expression, paste paper on the head. You can use paper tape to do this. Draw the expressions of the puppets on the paper tape. Draw or paste a photo of the puppet head in the box. There is a box provided for you to draw or paste the puppet head of your choice. Figure 5.16. A. Different kinds of faces. B. Painted puppet face. Page 127. It is not necessary to paint the skin color exactly the same as our skin color. As a puppet is an imaginary character, the colors can also be imaginary. You can use different colors to paint the face. Making the body. There are different ways in which a puppet's body can be built. Figure 5.17. One way to make a human puppet. Figure 5.17. Completing the puppet. There are 4 steps given here with related pictures to completing the puppet. Step 1. Take an old fabric and cut it in the shape of a long dress. The dimensions should be such that the rod or stick attached to the puppet head is covered. A picture is given here with different kinds of fabric. Step 2. Stitch the cloth using thread and needle. 2 pictures are given here of different fabrics. Step 3. You can also make a shirt and long skirt or pants and attach it to the puppet if you wish. There are 3 pictures given with this step. In each picture, there is a different puppet donning a different attire made out of different fabrics. Step 4. You can draw hands on a piece of cardboard on the paper. Then you can cut the cardboard appropriately. Attach the hands to the sleeves of the puppet's dress. 2 pictures are given in this step. The first picture has 2 hands drawn on a cardboard. The second picture is of hands cut out of those cardboards. Now, have fun with your puppets. Page 128. You can make as many puppets as you need with different kinds of clothes. Figure 5.18. Your puppets are ready for the show. In this figure, there's a picture given of a puppet show. There are 2 people holding 2 kinds of puppets and presenting a show. Movement. While performing, movement of the puppets will make the story come alive. You need to be creative to give movements to the puppet. For example, you can attach string to the back of the neck of the puppet and or its hands. You can make the puppet laugh by opening its jaw using your hands. You can make the puppet fly using the stick attached to its body. You can wear the puppet over your hand. Figures 5.19 and 5.20. Figure 5.19. Sticks will be used to move these puppets. There's a picture of a monkey and a crocodile puppet is given here. Figure 5.20. A and B. Puppets moved using a string and made with different parts joined together so that they can move. In this figure, two pictures are given. In both the pictures, there are two boys. One boy is tying his puppet through a string. The second boy is assembling different parts of a puppet into one final puppet. Page 129. How will you make your puppet move? Blank space for your response. According to the script, you may need to change the expression on the puppet's face. Example: smiling face, frowning face, sad face, or the way its body is positioned. Example: standing tiger, lying down tiger. This is possible by making more than one puppet for each character with different expressions and positions. Finalizing your puppets. You have experimented with various puppets. Now, start working towards making the puppets for your show. Please fill table 5.4 as this will help you plan your puppets. An example is given in the table to help you add details about your puppets. Table 5.4. Planning your puppets. There are 5 columns and 3 rows in this table. The responses in the first row are filled for your reference. Other 2 rows are kept blank for your own responses. The title of the first column is Types of Puppet. Example: human or animal, and their names. Column 1, Row 1. 2 human heads made of balls named Rajesh and Geeta. Title for the second column is What materials did you use? Column 2, Row 1. Ball, broomstick, sketch pen. Title for the third column is What did you do? Column 3, Row 1. Ball gives the shape of a head. I drew the eyes and mouth using a sketch pen. Its smiling face is like an emoji. The title for the fourth column: How will the puppets move? Column 4, Row 1. A broomstick is attached to the ball to move the head around. The title for the fifth column is How will you use these puppets? Column 5, Row 1. These puppets can be used to narrate a story of 2 people talking to each other about something. The dialogue can be funny and ridiculous. Page 130. Did you get the puppets right the first time, or did you need to make any improvement in the puppets or remake any puppet? If yes, explain why and what you did. Blank space for your response. Now you are ready to prepare for the show. Activity 7. Puppet Show. Start rehearsing with the puppets. Make sure everyone is clear about their responsibilities to ensure a great show. Some of you can be puppeteers, others can give light and sound effects, and can change the backdrop as the scenes change. There might be other things that need to be done based on your story. It is extremely important to have the following elements to have a great puppet show. A. Stage. The space where the show is performed is very important. First, there must be scope to create a stage so that the audience can clearly see the puppets. Second, there must be space for the audience to sit. There are different ways to set a stage. Figures 5.21 to 5.23. Figure 5.21. A bedsheet covering a table is used as a stage. The bedsheet will hide the puppeteer, who can move the puppets using their hands or sticks attached to the puppets' bodies. There's a picture given in this figure of two crocodiles and a monkey who's sitting on the back of one crocodile. Half of the stage is covered with a bedsheet covering the puppeteer. Page 131. A bedsheet can also be used as a curtain to cover the puppeteer. In case the puppeteer uses strings, the sheet can be tied to a string behind the table like a curtain. In this figure, there is a picture given with 5 different kinds of puppets. A black bedsheet is acting as a curtain to hide the puppeteer. Figure 5.23. A frame used as a stage for a puppet show. The frame should ideally be a rectangle, just like watching a film in the theatre. It can be made with different materials, but take care that the size of the window is large enough for the puppets and their movement to be clearly visible. In this figure, a picture is given of 3 puppets on a boat and a fishing net which has some fish in it. Remember, you need to keep the puppets which you will use for the show close to the stage where the audience cannot see them. For example, you can keep the puppets behind the cloth used to cover the table. There are some questions with blank space given for your response. 1. Where will you do the puppet show? Blank space. 2. Where will you keep puppets during the show? Blank space. B. Backdrop. The backdrop is very important since it shows the setting of the story. The setting may change as the story progresses from one scene to the next, and therefore the backdrop may change. You can draw or paint these different settings on a chart paper or an old bedsheet. Figure 5.24. Backdrop showing a jungle with animals. There is a picture given with figure 5.24. In this picture, there is a painting on paper of a jungle setting, which acts as a backdrop for a puppet show. Page 132. As the scene changes, the backdrop changes as well. You can even draw the backdrops on a curtain and slide them using hooks or hoops. 1. Briefly describe the backdrops you have prepared. Blank space for your response. C. Props. The kind of props will depend on how they are to be used. For example, we can use thick cardboard to create a chair, bed, or a throne, and so on. However, if the prop is being used or held by the puppeteer, it must be very light. Props can be made using simple materials such as paper. Example: newspaper, chapati. Aluminium. Example: sword, knife. Cardboard or disposable containers. Example: gas stove, plates. Figure 5.25. A tree used as a prop to show that a monkey is plucking an apple from the tree. The monkey's hand is moved using the stick attached to it. The puppeteer is moving monkey's hand to show that it is plucking an apple from the tree. 1. Briefly describe the props you have prepared. Blank space for your response. D. Voice. Voice modulation plays an extremely powerful role in puppetry. The puppeteer acts through her or his voice. You must assign distinct voices to each puppet to differentiate the characters. For example, a lion puppet could have a deep, commanding voice, while a rabbit could have a high-pitched, playful voice. To make sure the audience understands what you are saying, speak clearly and loudly. Practice showing emotions like happiness, fear, or excitement using voice modulation. For example, sound fearful during a chase scene, or whisper during a suspenseful moment. Refer the script you wrote. Try to do voice acting with puppets for dialogues. Practice playing sound or singing together wherever required. Practice is key for the success of your efforts. E. Sound and music. You should have different types of sounds in the puppet show depending on the script. Background music or sound effects like thundering of clouds before rain. You can use musical instruments or create sounds by tapping on the floor or the desk using a pencil, scale, or your fingers. You can tap on a glass or bottle with different levels of water to create music for your show. You can experiment with different sound effects using the sound system. For example, whistling into a microphone creates the sound of the wind. Figure 5.26. Making a sound. There are two pictures given in this figure. The first picture is of glass filled with water on different levels and a spoon, both colliding together to make some musical sounds. The second picture has some hands thudding on a table using pens and pencils. Refer to your script, Table 5.3, to decide the music and sound effects and how you will generate them. You can search for music online using the keywords exciting plus celebration plus music plus no copyright. F. Light. Light is needed in puppetry both to ensure the audience can see the puppets and for effects. If the show is outdoor, in the daytime, light does not play a role. Page 134. However, if the show is in a dark space, you need to plan the placement of lights. For example, you can use a torch behind curtains to show the moon, sun, or a magic lamp. You can also use fairy lights, table lamps, earthen pots, diya, etc. Refer to your script table 5.3 to decide lighting effects and how you will generate them. G. Puppeteer. The puppeteer needs to rehearse the dialogues well. Remember, the puppet is speaking, not you. You should also know when the puppet will enter the stage, in, and when to exit the stage, out. Secondly, the puppeteer should look at the puppet while the puppet talks to the audience. This means that as a puppeteer, your face needs to be flat without emotions, so that the audience looks at the puppet and not at you. Activity 8. Putting up a puppet show. Now, it is time for the show. Do not forget to take a look at the checklist in table 5.5 before the show. Table 5.5. Pre-show checklist. This table has 3 columns and 10 rows. Rows are filled with questions that you might want to ask yourself before the show. The third column is left blank for your response, yes or no. The questions in the rows are: first, is your script ready? Yes or no? Second, have you made the puppets for each character? Yes or no? Third, is the costume for the puppets ready? Yes or no? Fourth, can you move the puppets? Yes or no? Fifth, have you finalized the sequence and dialogue? Yes or no? Sixth, is the stage ready? Yes or no? Seventh, are the props ready? Yes or no? Eighth, have you finalized the background music, sound and light effects? Yes or no? Ninth, have you done a rehearsal? Yes or no? 10th, have you decided who will introduce the show and who will introduce the cast post the show? Yes or no? Page 135. Draw a sketch of the stage and seating area in the space below. There's a box provided for you to draw a sketch of the stage and seating area for your puppet show. After everything is set in place, you can organize a show during the Kaushal Mela. Post the show, the performers should bow and a team member should introduce the cast. Do remember to acknowledge the author of the story and mention the names of all those who helped you to put up the show. You can list the cast members in table 5.6. Their roles could be as a puppeteer, scriptwriter, music, artwork, puppet making, lights, and so on. Table 5.6. Cast of the puppet show. There are 3 columns and 5 rows in this table. 5 rows are kept blank for your responses. The title of the first column is serial number. Second column, name of the artist. Third column, role. Page 136. After the show, get feedback from the audience about the performance. You can ask the audience the following questions. There are some questions given here with blank space for your responses. 1. Which part of the show did they like the most? Blank space. 2. What are their suggestions to make it better? Blank space. What did I learn from others? You might have taken help and guidance from your community or friends. It could be for making puppets, sound and light show, for costumes or for setting up the stage. Please write down the 3 most important things you learnt. Blank space for your response. What did I do and how long did it take? It is important to understand how much time is required for an activity to be completed. Calculate the approximate amount of time in hours you spent on each activity. Mark them on the timeline below. If you did more than the activities suggested in the book, please add the number and time taken. There's a pattern of a timeline given. It is divided into 2 sections. The first one has activity starting from 1st to 8th. The second part is time taken, periods. Page 137. What else can I do? 1. Include more movement in your puppets. You can add movements in the hands, legs, or neck depending on the requirements of the show. 2. Explore using light, mirror, and reflection to create light effects. 3. Can you use puppets and computer software for creating animations? Hint: you can make paper cutouts and create movements using stop motion application. Think and answer. 1. What did you enjoy doing? 2. What challenges did you face? 3. What will you do differently next time? 4. Compare your script and puppet show with a film, TV show, cartoons, or animation, or any other performance. What are the similarities and differences between them? 5. Identify a few examples of jobs related to the work you just did. For example, script writing, puppet maker, costume designer, voice modulation, light and sound technician. Look around, speak to people, and write your answer. Project 5 ends here.
Kaushal Bodh, you are just listening to this audiobook. Textbook of Vocational Education for Grade 7. Narration: Himani Joshi. Sound recordist: Virendra Rawat. Assistance in production: Arshad Ahmed. Directed and produced by Vimalesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.